This tutorial is going to be going over our information fact sheet, which is now interactive. You're going to need Adobe Acrobat to fill out the form. If you don't have Adobe Acrobat, you can use Adobe Reader, which you can download from Adobe.com for free. We're going to jump right into this interactive PDF. This tutorial will go over the basics. The other video will go over a more detailed account of how to fill this out. The first thing we're going to do is show you what this highlight fields button does. If you select this field, it's going to show you some fields in red which are required, and if they are in red, that means you need to fill it out before you can submit the PDF to us. So you can see we have a submit by PDF button here and a reset form button here. The submit by PDF means that you filled everything out and it's ready for you to send it to us. The reset form is going to delete everything on here. So don't press this button unless you're absolutely sure that you want to delete everything on the PDF. And make sure you also save as you go along, because this will keep track of all the changes you've done in case you want to fill this out in, by sections. These boxes here, you can type in anything that you need. Like for instance, if this was a text field, you'd just fill that in, and then you can hit the tab button to go over to the different sections. You see this button here has a drop down, and this is asking for the city office hours, so we can just say this is a Monday through Friday office, and the hours I'm gonna say are 7 to 5. And so this is the drop down. This is here is an election date. So if you're able to scroll here left or right and select the election date. These here are called radio buttons. A radio button is used when you only have two options. So I can select that the time the polls will close is going to be 7 or 8 o'clock. Here we have some more drop down buttons, giving you some options. For the precinct kit, we only offer 3 options, so make sure you select the one that you need. Here we also have a box where you can select if you'd want something. So the difference between selecting either an X or not an X is if you want a sample kit, you would select a yes, and if you don't want it, then you would leave it open. The default will always be that you don't. As we go down, it's going to ask you some more questions. As you can see, some of these are required and some of these are not. So you can scroll down to see more of the information fact sheet, and everything will look the same. Some options will appear or disappear based on what information you select. Like for instance, on the vote by mail instructions, if you're an English only city, you would select English only, and then you see that these options here disappeared. But if you were, for instance, a multi-language city, then you would select which languages you needed. So like for instance, English, Spanish, and Korean. And then if you had another one, you would put here, another language like Greek, for instance. The next one, vote by mail envelope order. Here's where you would select your main language will always be English, and then followed by what your second language is, and then your third. We had said it was Korean, and then the last one we can type in Greek. And here we can say how many envelopes we want. up here it tells me what the current PVBM is. So if I have 3,500 voters, I'm going to want to make sure I have enough. So I'm going to say I want 3650 envelopes, because that'll cover any difference that we have in between the 29 and the 15 day. Down here we have some more envelope orders, some official ballots. Here you can tell us what percentage of voters you want for the precincts. It has to be between 100 and 75. Here's the official ballot, which is the same deal with the envelopes. You're going to select the language you want on the ballot. So I'm going to say English, Spanish, Korean, and Greek. And this VBM quantity should match this one. So I'm going to say 3650. And this option here is if I want an additional ballot. Let's say I wanted another ballot that was English and Vietnamese, so I could order an additional 100. And let's say I don't want any, let's say I wanted 25 per precinct. But because I ordered official ballots for an additional ballot English Vietnamese, I'm going to want to order English and Vietnamese envelopes. So I ordered 100, so I'm going to say I want 100 envelopes as well. When you get to the sample ballot books, you're going to want to read through the options, because when you select an option here, the other option is closed off to you. So in this instance, sample ballot books, English only or English only and a language requested by the candidates, or a multilingual book. If you are an English only city, then you would select option A. If you have multiple languages that are required, you're going to want option B. So you would have English plus the following languages. So we're going to say we're English plus Spanish plus Korean, and then I'm going to say Greek here. Now we ordered an extra ballot on top there, so let's say I'm going to want a foreign language sample ballot book. So I have a couple of options. It can either be does not apply, which crosses out the options, or I could say I want an English and Vietnamese book, or I can say I want only a Vietnamese book. So it'll really depend on your preference here. And then here we have some more options of radio buttons, the return address on the back of the sample ballot book. Do you want your name or office of the city clerk? And down here we have some more radio buttons on the format of the candidate statement, and some more radio buttons here. And that about does it on how to use the features on our interactive PDF. The next video will show you how to complete one from beginning to end. This video simply demonstrates what the different options are. So if you need any more assistance, go ahead and check out our detailed video on information fact sheets.